que les forces de défense et de sécurité et les agents de renseignement ont saisi dans la ville de Niamey, dans le quartier Plateau et Tchangarey, une importante quantité d'armes, de munitions et d'accessoires de guerre. Cette découverte de matériel de guerre dans ces villas, anciennement occupées par les militaires des forces françaises et par les agents du projet EUCAP Sahel, n'ont jamais renoncé à leur sinistre projet de déstabiliser notre pays.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and welcome back once again to yet another episode of Proudly Marveling. Yes, and if this is your first time coming through, man, this is your first time seeing this face, they call me Misterjaay, man. I'm a proud Motherlandian living out in the diaspora, and I do drop vlogs every day talking about issues affecting my continent because, yes, as you know it, man, 100% proud Motherlandian, you feel me? Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, I would like to beg of you to give us that thumbs up, because the more thumbs up you give us, the more the YouTube algorithm understands what we are trying to do out here in Proudly Marveling. Let me adjust this mic. You feel me? So that's gonna help Misterjaay do a whole lot of reaction and drop a whole lot of these vlogs, and I appreciate you stopping by, man. First of all, I want to give a shout out to everybody who's been watching Misterjaay from across the globe, man, from North America, man, Canada, from Europe, man, Germany, Holland, Belgium, man. I see a whole lot of you coming through. It's all love. I mean, it shows me that we have a whole lot of Motherlandians out there in the continents around the world. From Africa, man, SA, man, Ghana, Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, Cameroon, Zambia, man. Look, I can't even express my love, my gratitude, but I do appreciate you. You feel me? Now, ladies and gentlemen, today I wanted to talk about the Republic of Niger, man. A beautiful little country that has been fighting for its existence. A beautiful country that was swindled out of its God-given natural resources for so long by a wicked imperialist. You guys know the imperialist, man. A beautiful country where all they want to do is to give their people the best. And this country has been under military rule, under a president, a military leader, General Abdurrahman Chani, whose administration has been trying to put everything in order and restore dignity to the citizens of this beautiful country. Now, ladies and gentlemen, recently, man, on the 19th, what's the date of today? Today is the 23rd. On the 19th and on the 20th of this month, man, there was a raid carried out in a neighborhood in Niamey, the capital city of that beautiful country. And a whole lot of military war weapons were seized out of properties in that neighborhood. Now, we are going to talk about that now. You feel me? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that Niger, man, with the military leader, man, he kicked out the French. Immediately he took over power. Immediately he orchestrated a coup. He kicked out the French, and he imprisoned a French puppet who was in place, who had not helped the country move the needle forward. And I once said in one of my vlogs that the whole purpose of orchestrating a coup, when the military orchestrates a coup in any country, is because the military sees that the civilian leader is not able to alleviate the pain and suffering of that country, so they take over to align things so that the next civilian could come in. Now, taking over power, this military leader quickly realized the problem, and the problem was its colonial master, France. So the first order of the day was to kick out France from the territory, because you cannot try to fix a system when everything shows that the person you always run to, or the former leader ran towards the orchestrator and the perpetrator of the issues of your downfall. So they kicked out France. And recently, man, they discontinued the military cooperation that they have with the United States. But that's not what we want to talk about. We want to talk about the recent discovery of military weapons, man, warlike weapons in a neighborhood in Niamey, in the Republic of Niger. Now, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we ask ourselves as Africans that why is it that when the European power realizes that they have been caught red-handed in Africa by a leader who comes in and tries to ensure that his people have a good life, a dignified life, why is it that these European powers don't live peacefully? Why is it that Europeans think that they own our natural resources found in Africa? Why? But then at the same time, you come into contact with an African country, you realize that they have resources, and rather for you to ensure that whatever the case is, those people live or have a dignified way of life, you decide out of your own selfish reasons that you are going to rip this country out of its natural resources. And then you are going to do this by putting a puppet in place, a leader. You are going to back a puppet in place who does nothing but answers yes ma'am, yes sir, to your wish and to your command, forgetting totally the people, the citizens of that given country. And then when somebody rises up to stop you from doing this, you make it a mission to destabilize that country. Now, it is said that the French dignitary, before leaving, he said that they would do everything in their power to destabilize the Republic of Niger. Now, you might be asking yourself, but why would somebody say that? Somebody who doesn't own the properties. You are not Nigerian. You were not born in Africa, but you want to destabilize all of this because of Niger's natural resource, uranium. Now, we've talked a whole lot on this platform about the uranium situation in Niger. And let me just remind you, France has been robbing and pilfering uranium from that beautiful country for a long time. And she has done this unabatedly. And to think that France was getting a kilo of uranium at 80 cents to $1 and then selling it to the world for 200 euros per kilo, all that ish came to a stop when the military junta came in and put an end to it. And she was doing this. France was robbing uranium from the Republic of Niger through the help of a puppet that they put in place, Mohamed Bazoum, who was immediately taken out and put in jail. And we saw all the back and forth situation, and we equally saw the situation of the ambassador of France not trying to leave the country, and then he ran out like a rat that was poured hot water in his body. And all these things, you keep asking yourself, but why? But we all understand now that cutting France from its uranium, where France was making free money, billions and billions and trillions for its own home industries, for its own home economy, has created a big scar. You have left Niger's military leader doing that, cutting France and kicking France out of Niger, has deprived France of a whole lot of money that it was possibly supposed to be making. And don't quote Mr. J on this one, but the African Development Bank prospects that the Niger economy is going to grow tremendously. And immediately he cut France from the uranium from the country. They started selling uranium at 200 euros per kilo. Think about that. Selling something at 80 cents to $1 and then now 200. Of course, there's a whole lot of maximum revenue coming in. And don't get it twisted. There's a whole lot of buyers that will come out from the BRICS regions. Yes, if the Western countries say they're not going to buy it, of course, Niger is going to sell it to other countries who are willingly going to buy. And that's money coming in. And do you know that the former president of Niger, an idiot of a guy, a puppet of a guy, was actually benefiting by letting France buy its uranium at 80 cents to $1. Information gets that this man was getting a 5% kickback on every sales. And now I don't know if he was that dumb or he did not understand what uranium was to just sit back and get just 5% from everything sold. Now imagine selling a kilo of uranium for 200 euros and then paying the government, the previous government, 11 euros per a kilo. And then the state, the coffers, were only getting 80 cents to $1, which means the rest of the money was going somewhere. But this is not the case, man. These weapons that was found, man, like the media houses in Niger posted, somebody said, or the French quickly came out and negated this whole finding that it is not their weapons. It is a weapon of the EUCAP, the Sahel Alliance forces that the European Union had sent to handle the situation in that beautiful country. France is saying that it is not our weapons, it is that of the EUCAP. But we all know that anything that has to do with the European Union, if they are working together, those are your allies, France. So President Macron cannot come out and say, yo, we don't know where those weapons came from. And to think that these weapons were in the capital city, that was a clear sign that France was actually working with some inside house, some inside players to do all to keep true to their promises of destabilizing that country, just because that country had kicked them out and taken away their bread and honey in uranium deposits. Now, I will end this vlog by saying this. Is it a crime to be colonized by this country? What crime, what sin did all of these French-speaking countries in Africa commit to be in bondage to this imperialist? What crime? Why is it that France is using African resources to build its educational system, to build its financial system? It's everything in France is built on African resources. Now, I know some of my French people will come and say, but Mr. J, you cannot be sure about what you're saying. Show me one natural resource that France has. If you know that, leave a comment. I will end this vlog by saying this. Who do you think is saying the truth? The military juntas saying that they already know who had those weapons put there? Or President Macron and his people? Or the French people saying that they don't know whose weapons were those and that is only for the EU and they did not know blah, 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 blah. Leave a comment. That's my time. Stay blessed. Peace.